Oh, you did?
No,
Okay.
I didn't.
Well, you got to tell me, enlighten me. I'm born in the darkness of ignorance.
I mean, we can do it again, you know. No matter how many times we
So you
can
have to.
Sing it as many times as needed.
What you saying? Do? Okay. Jayanti's saying offer respect again. Okay. Om Ganantasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshunalatam Yaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with a shining torchlight transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki. So we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, text 11. Chapter is the most confidential knowledge. So we read this verse last week, but we didn't finish the purport, so we'll read the verse again and then continue where we left off. Text 11. Avajānanti mūḍhāḥ.
Avajānanti mūḍhāḥ.
Mānuṣīm tanum āśritam.
Tanum
Param bhāvam ajānantaḥ.
param ajānantaḥ.
Mama bhūta mahā-īśvaram.
mahā-īśvaram.
Who wants to read the translation?
Fool deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be.
So the main factor in the material world is ignorance. So because of ignorance, one mistake that the conditioned souls often make is to think that when God comes to this world, that he comes in a human form, a bodily form, a material bodily form. So that's not true. That's not true. When God comes to this world, we call it avatar, one who descends, avatar. When God descends from Vaikuntha to the material world, he comes in his original spiritual form. But out of ignorance, we think that anyone that has a body, that body, we think it must be material like ours, but that's a mistake. Not everything that has a form is necessarily a physical material form. There are spiritual forms also. But because of ignorance, we don't know about that. You know, we don't know about spiritual forms. You can't see, you know, ordinarily, you can't see a spiritual form with these eyes, with these material eyes. And even when Krishna came to this earth 5,000 years ago, very few people could understand that he was God. Very few people could understand. Most people thought that he was an ordinary human being, maybe a bit more powerful than most. Some people saw Krishna was just a coward boy. Some people saw Krishna was a king, because later on, when he left Vrindavan, he went back to his original mother and father, and they were like a family of kings, like that. So he became a king of the Yadu dynasty, like that. And some people thought, you know, he's very beautiful, he's very powerful, and like that. But hardly anyone knew that he was God. Here in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, Arjuna understands that Krishna's God. But it's very rare. Hardly anyone could understand. Most people thought that he was just an ordinary human being. Let's have a look at Arjuna's understanding of Krishna in the 10th chapter, texts 12 and 13. There's two verses together where Arjuna is expressing his realization of who Krishna is. 12 and 13.
Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asista, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and you yourself are declaring it to me.
So Arjuna, he definitely understands that Krishna is not an ordinary human being. But and it's mentioned here, Arjuna mentions that some great sages, they know. So Narada Muni, Sita Devala, Vyasadeva, they know that Krishna is not an ordinary human being. They know that he's God, like that. And Krishna himself knows who he is. So he's telling himself here. Like if we look just before this, in the eighth verse, 10th chapter, text 8, Krishna's saying,
I'm the source of all superior and material world. Everything animates me from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and they worship me with all their hearts.
Yeah, so Krishna knows who he is. he's the source of everything. And a few sages know, and Arjuna knows, his dear devotees, some of them know. But the rest of them are covered over by Maya, by Krishna's Maya. And we know that Maya works in three different features, in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. And in the material world, especially in Kali Yuga, it's mostly the mode of ignorance. So in the mode of ignorance, there's no way of understanding that Krishna is God and that he has a spiritual form and that he comes to the material world. Most people, even religious people, think that God cannot come to the material world. Have you met people like that? If you say that God came to this world, they say, no, God can't come to this world. Have you ever met anyone that said that God can't come to this world?
That's pretty much everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that, yeah.
Yeah, if we say that, God came to this world 5,000 years ago, he was known by the name Krishna, they'll say, no, he didn't. God doesn't come here. God can't come here. God's in the spiritual world. God's like just energy. Most people think God is just energy, and they don't understand that he has a personal feature as well. Of course, we know that God does have that feature of energy, where that's called Brahman. So there's three features. So one is the energy, Brahman, and then there's Paramatma, which has a form, but that form is a very small form and inside the heart of every living thing. Even in the atom, Paramatma is there. And then there's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, who is usually just in the spiritual world. Usually Bhagavan is just in the spiritual world. But occasionally he comes to the material world. Why? Why does he come here? Does he come here to enjoy the material world?
No,
to gratify his senses?
Come and protect his
Have
devotees.
A good time?
No.
Yeah. Comes to protect the devotees. Protect the devotees from what?
He kills few of
them
them
from
while
what?
he's here. From the demons.
Yeah, he protects them from the demons. Demons are always causing problem for the devotees, just like now in the world all over. The demons are creating problem for the devotees. And then he takes out the demons that are a pain in the neck to the devotees. And he reestablishes the religious principles.
And demons get liberated too.
Yeah, and the demons get liberated by being killed by the Lord.
What
yeah.
Lucky. They're demons, they make it a trouble and still get liberated.
Yeah.
And hey, Prabhu, doesn't part of yoga Maya, doesn't Krishna want, so he can play out these pastimes? He doesn't want people to know he's God, though, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's interesting perspective. So there's two different kinds of Maya illusion. One is the Maya that we forget God. We forget God and we forget who we are too. We forget who we are. We forget that we're a soul. And we think that we're the body, and we think that the goal of life is to enjoy the body, gratify the senses. So that's one kind of Maya. And the other kind of yoga, Maya, which Bhaktimala mentioned, is Yoga Maya. So that's Maha Maya, the one I just mentioned. That makes us forget who we are and forget who God is and forget our relationship with God. And the other one's Yoga Maya. That's acting in the spiritual world. And that in the spiritual world, that's having the effect that the devotee who loves Krishna, but Yoga Maya's covering over that devotee's understanding that Krishna is God. So Yoga Maya is preventing the devotee from understanding that he's God. Why is that? Because that will dampen down the relationship, dampen down the pure love. Instead of pure love, then if you know that Krishna's God, then it's going to reduce just that pure love. Because what it will bring into the relationship is more like awe and reverence. Oh, Krishna's God. He's so great. And, I have to be very careful not to do anything wrong and all these kind of things. And I have to serve him very carefully. But that will minimize just that spontaneous natural love that a devotee has. In the spiritual world, the gopis, the cowherd girls and the cowherd boys, they just love Krishna for who he is, that he's just such a loving, wonderful person, so kind and compassionate and so beautiful, handsome, so many good qualities. They just love him for who he is. He's always saving them from different calamities and problems. They don't love him because of his position. But that's the thing. So it's not because of a position that they like him. It's like people like you because you're the prime minister or the president, or so you're the chief of the sports team or something like that, the All Blacks, coach or something like that. No, it's not like that. It's not because of a position that they love him and worship him. They just naturally love him for his qualities that he has, not because of the position. So Yoga Maya is playing that function to not let the devotees in the spiritual world realize that he's God, so that they'll just love him just very spontaneously, very naturally. Does that make sense, Bhaktimala? You want to say anything more about that?
Yeah, no.
Anyone else? And Krishna has given that service to Yoga Maya to help make his relationships more sweet and more pure. He doesn't want just formal relationships. Like in the material world, religious people, they have that awe and reverence for God. God, like Allah, means God is great. So everyone thinks God is great and we have to worship him. And if we don't worship him, we're afraid that he'll punish us, that the Christians are afraid that if I don't, surrender to Jesus, then God is going to punish me with fire and brimstone and everything like that. I'll go to hell and like that. So they're motivated to serve God through fear. If you look at most religions, their motivation to serve God is not out of love, but out of fear. If I don't serve God, then I'll be punished and I'll go to hell, like that. So God doesn't really like that kind of relationship. It's not very inspiring. If you say someone love me or I'm going to shoot you, is that going to be a very satisfying relationship? So a relationship out of fear is not such an attractive kind of relationship. We don't really want that. So yeah, God doesn't really want that either. So he wants people that just love him for who he is, not because of his position or because of what will happen if you don't love him or anything like that. Does that make sense? So Yoga Maya is making that happen. So in all circumstances, we're always in Maya. You know, we're always under some kind of illusion. In the material world, we're under the illusion that we're God and that we don't need God and there's no other God, and that and we're the body, and we can be happy in the material world. We're under the illusion that we can enjoy and be happy in the material world. And in the spiritual world, they're under the illusion that Krishna's just their best friend, or he's their lover. He's their lover. He's their best friend. He's their master, like that. He's their child. You know, like Nanda and Yashoda are thinking Krishna's my child. They're not thinking he's God. You know, Vasudeva and Devaki, he's my child, like that. So that's what Yoga Maya is making them think, that Krishna's my child. Or Arjuna, you know, Arjuna's thinking Krishna's my friend. Now, hearing Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's realizing that, you know, Krishna's God. But generally, he's thinking that Krishna's my friend. You know, and they're hanging out together. And he actually mentions it. Let's look and see if we can see that in the 11th chapter. There's a string of verses there where Arjuna's like apologizing in the 11th chapter that, sorry, Krishna, I've been treating you just like my equal, just like my friend. I'm really sorry about that. Actually, Krishna enjoys that. But Arjuna, because in the 11th chapter, Krishna shows his universal form. And after he sees the universal form, he realizes, well, Krishna's not just my friend, he's God. And then he apologizes for just being really intimate. Here we go. Text 41-42. One of the ladies can read this.
Oh, everyone's lady. Krishna is the only Purusha.
Okay.
He is the only man.
Okay, whatever. As you like.
Okay, you go ahead. No.
Deepa?
What
Camilla?
text verse is that? Sorry.
Okay.
41, 42.
11th chapter, text 41-42.
11:41.
Saketi, friend. One motorbike is leaving.
Okay.
That's right, it'll be gone in a sec. No, it won't. Now it's stopped. Okay, anyway, read.
Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses.
Wow. Isn't it amazing? So although Krishna's God, but he's just hanging out with Arjuna, just like a friend, you know, sleeping on the same bed, relaxing together, eating together, alone together, all the friends hanging out together. Now he's seeing that Krishna's God, he's thinking, I've made offenses. But actually Krishna's not seeing it like that as offenses. He actually really enjoyed that. And Krishna arranged that Yoga Maya is covering Arjuna's intelligence and making him forget that he's God, and making him think that Krishna's just his friend. That was purposefully done so Krishna can have that very personal, sweet relationship with Arjuna. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
So yeah, that's Yoga Maya, making us think that, you know, Krishna's my friend, like that, Krishna's my lover, Krishna's my child, like that. That's her function, and Krishna enjoys that. And the last lines in the paragraph and the purport, the last line's interesting. That well, this last two sentences. The relationship between the living entity and Krishna is fixed eternally. It cannot be forgotten, as we can see from the behavior of Arjuna. Although Arjuna has seen the opulence in the universal form, he cannot forget his friendly relationship with Krishna. So even though he's seen that Krishna displayed this universal form, that he is, the whole universe is inside of Krishna, but still Arjuna can't forget his friendly, loving relationship with Krishna. And Prabhupada's pointing out that's because the relationship is eternal. The relationship's eternal between the living entity and Krishna. Like that, it cannot be forgotten. So that's so nice. So we know that, you know, Mother Yashoda looked in Krishna's mouth and saw the whole universe in Krishna's mouth. And then that completely bewildered her. And after she saw the whole universe in Krishna's mouth, what did she do? She forgot that and then went back to, Krishna, don't be naughty and again and eat dirt. No more eating dirt. Otherwise, I'm going to punish you. Don't make trouble. So she can't do anything else other than, you know, act in that, you know, loving relationship she has eternally with Krishna as Krishna's mother. So that's all she knows. Krishna's my child and I'm Krishna's mother. Like that. She can't think of anything else, that he's God or anything like that. It can't enter. And that's Yoga Maya making that happen like that. And that's what Krishna wants. Krishna wants that. Okay, let's continue the purport. Today's verse. So back to 9:11. 9:11. Everyone remembers 9/11. Isn't it a very good thing? Does anyone, the ladies that were here last week, do you remember where we got up to in the purport? I think we're about halfway through.
I think we're just before. I think I read up to devotional service of the Lord on 391, just before. Yeah, that next. Like that starts. There are many controversies. I think that's where we're up to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Bhakti Mala, do you want to read that one, please? This paragraph.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah. There are many controversies between the impersonalists and the personalists about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if we consult the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative texts for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man. Although he appeared on this earth as an ordinary human, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 1st chapter, when the sages headed by Shaunaka inquired about the activities of Krishna, they said, oh, I'm really not good at Sanskrit.
Oh, leave the Sanskrit. Yeah, leave that out.
Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked he performed many superhuman acts. Bhagavad Gita 1.120 or Bhagavatam. The Lord's appearance as a man. Bhagavatam, yeah. The Lord's appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands. But after the prayers of the parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child. As stated in the Bhagavatam 10.3.46, Bambavula Krata Shisutu. He became just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now, here again, it is indicated that the Lord's appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, also, it is stated that Arjuna prayed to see Krishna's form of 4 hands. After revealing this form, Krishna, when petitioned by Arjuna, again assumed his original human-like form. These different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not for those of an ordinary human being.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Prabhupada starts off saying there's many controversies, whether or many controversies about God appearing in a human form between the impersonalists and the personalists. So there's always been this debate going on, and the personalists, they're called Vaishnavas. So we are Vaishnavas. We follow the philosophy that Krishna has a spiritual form, and then he can come to the material world with this in the spiritual form. But the impersonalists, and these are generally followers of Shankaracharya. So Shankaracharya, he's the head of the impersonalists or Mayavadis, and in their philosophy, God is only impersonal, never personal, never has a form. Not in the spiritual world, not in the material world, no form. And is simply just energy. God is just energy. So these different groups, the personalists and impersonalists, they're always debating and arguing over whether God has form or no form. But then, Prabhupada's saying here, but if we consult Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative text for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead. So, you know, two people or more might have an argument. So how do you resolve the argument? You should go to the scripture, go to the authority. It's not about whether, you know, I'm right, you're wrong, or whatever like that. You know, people can argue whatever. But what does the scripture say? So the scripture, that's the authority. It's not that I'm the authority or you're the authority or we're all authorities or whatever. No, but the scripture is the authority. And whatever the scripture says, that's what we have to accept. We should accept what the scripture says. That's the ultimate authority. I might be some kind of authority. You might be some kind of authority in religious understanding or whatever. But the scripture is the ultimate authority. You know, so that's where we need to go to. So if we look at the scripture, and Prabhupada mentions 2, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, these are like the essence of the Vedic scriptures, then it says there that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead and that he is a spiritual form. So that's the evidence. So, you know, what evidence do we have? People say, you know, you prove it that Krishna is God. Yeah, we can. Just look at Bhagavad Gita. Look at Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the proof. That's the evidence. As in the Bhagavad Gita, as in the Bhagavatam, you know. Because 100 people will have 100 opinions, guaranteed. But it can't be 100 truths. The truth is only one, not 100. So 100 people's opinions has no value. But what is the one truth? That is what's important. And that one truth can be found out from the authoritative Vedic scriptures. And especially one should look at those particular ones like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, because you'll have even some people say, no, but in the Shiva Purana, it says that Shiva is God. In the Devi Purana, it says that Devi or Durga is God, like that. So, and in one other place it might say Indra is God, like that. So, but they're not the essence of the Vedas. But Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the conclusion. That's the conclusion of the Vedas, the essence of the Vedas, not these other scriptures. So there's different levels of scriptures too. Some are more important, some are less important. Why do you have certain Vedic texts that say that someone other than Krishna is God? Do you know?
Well, I guess you've talked about that there's all different ways to God, and some people are drawn to different types of worship and things like that. So and there, I don't know, the verse about that if people are going to worship the demigods, they go to the demigods, and they want to worship the ghosts and spirits. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
That's
I
good.
don't know.
You actually pretty much hit it on the button.
Yeah.
You know, so all different kinds of people in there, and they have different kinds of faith. So Krishna gives them faith in that particular worship according to the mode they're in. So if they're in the mode of ignorance, Krishna arranges that they'll be attracted to worshipping Shiva. You know, if they're in the mode of passion or whatever, they're attracted to worshipping Durga, you know, Maya and like that. So according to the mode they're in, they'll be attracted to worshipping different personalities. And Krishna arranges that they'll have faith in that particular deity. And that's progressive. If you're in the mode of ignorance, it's progressive for them to worship Shiva. By worship, because Shiva is not ignorant. You know what I'm saying? So Shiva's worshippers might be ignorant, but Shiva himself is not ignorant. He's a Vaishnava, he's a devotee. And if you worship Shiva, then that's going to be progressive. Let's look at 7th chapter, text 21. Talking about how Krishna sees that you have a particular desire, and he's the one that gives you the faith. 7:21. Have you got it? Whoever's got it can read it.
I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity.
So Krishna himself is giving someone faith to worship another person other than himself, because he knows you're not ready to worship him, that you have some material desires. You have some material desires, because in the previous verse 7:20 it talks about material desires. So those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So Krishna knows that you have material desires to fulfill, and that there's a particular demigod that can help you fulfill those desires. So Krishna gives you faith to worship Shiva, to worship Durga, to worship Surya or Chandra, Indra, like that. So he's not attached that you have to love him. He gives you free choice. And if you want to love someone else, okay, love them, you know, love someone else. That's your choice. But by them worshipping a demigod, that can help to purify them further to the point that eventually they can surrender to Krishna. The idea is that worshipping demigod is better than not worshipping anybody, because at least what's happening? You know, an ordinary materialistic person, they don't worship anybody. You know, they just try to gratify their own senses. They love themselves. They don't really love anybody else. So what's progressive is for someone from that point of just being a very selfish, materialistic person, they come to the point of like worshipping a demigod. What's better about worshipping a demigod than
something is better than nothing.
Yeah, what if you're worshipping a demigod, what does that mean is happening in your mentality, in your mind? What are you accepting in order to worship a demigod? What does that mean that you're accepting that
But
someone is?
You are not. First thing first, you are not atheist. You
Yep, you're not
believe in
atheist.
something.
You believe in
which is
something is what? Something greater
the Supreme
than
Personality, greater, yes. So
greater than myself. So that's progressive in that you're understanding there's someone greater than me. Because in the beginning, we think no one's greater than me. It's just me. You know, I'm the center of the universe and everything revolves around me. And I don't need to worship anyone. And so at least you're not ready to accept that Krishna is the supreme. He's the ultimate authority. But you're saying there is some authority greater than me. There's a sun god. He's an authority greater than me. There's a moon god. He's an authority greater than me. There's a wind god. He's an authority greater than me. And you see that like in a lot of the primitive cultures, like Aborigines, Maoris, like that, indigenous people, they always saw there was like they worship the mountains and they worship the forests and they worship the oceans because they're very great things, you know. So they become humbled by that you're seeing something's greater than you. So whereas like the typical Western mentality, we're so proud, we don't worship anybody. We think we're the greatest. That's not very progressive. We're very arrogant. We're very proud. We're not humble. But a humble person can see, okay, no, you know, Shiva's greater than me. You know, Durga is greater than me. And you worship them, you offer respect to them, you know, you do some service for them. So that's progressive. You're learning how to do service, you know, for a greater personality like that. So it's helping develop a mood of service and like that, and some humility there, and bring down that pride like that. So that's can be something useful there. So sometimes it might say that, like in the Shiva Purana, that Shiva's God, or in the Devi Purana, Durga's God, like that. And that's progressive for them, for those worshippers. Of course, a devotee of Krishna is not going to think that Shiva's God or Durga's God. But for another person in ignorance, that's good for them to have that respect for Lord Shiva or Durga like that. Of course, we also respect Shiva and Durga as devotees of Krishna. Of course, they're not seeing that Shiva and Durga is a devotee of Krishna. They're seeing that Shiva and Durga is God, like that. And but for
Even
them,
my family are atheists, but they're all surfers, and they believe in Huey, the wave god.
Okay.
But they're atheists.
Progressive.
They're atheists, but they all talk about Huey. It's funny, isn't it? Like even people that are atheists, but they're so attached to the ocean, and they call it Huey, the wave god.
Yeah.
You know why they're attached to the ocean?
Why are they?
Because in the past life they were dolphin.
Yeah, probably.
But that's in a sense acknowledging something bigger than themselves, isn't it?
Yeah,
kind
so
of
that's good.
in an indirect way.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the beginning.
Don't mention God to them, any other God,
no.
but they're willing to accept this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
and like it's saying in that verse that we just read, Krishna himself as the super soul is giving faith in that. So the super soul is giving your family faith in Huey. Like So is given, Krishna himself is giving that faith. You know? But it's better, like I say, it's better to have faith in someone than nobody.
Yeah.
Like that. So it's at least somebody. Okay, you can't have faith in me, Krishna. Okay, but at least have faith in one of my servants. Like that. It's like if you didn't have faith in Krishna, but you had faith in Prabhupada. Is that good or bad?
That's good.
That's very good. Even you didn't have any faith in Krishna, but you had faith in Prabhupada. That's very good. You know, so even if you can't have faith in Krishna, if you have faith in one of Krishna's servants, that's very good. You know, that's very good. Like that.
Actually, recently I just came across as a child, and this child was doing stuff, and we say, why are you doing this? Oh, Larry asked me to. Larry said I could do that, and then it comes out that Larry. So who's Larry? And Larry's God. So, and he's just talking, and that Larry is telling him to do things in whatever. And then the conversation with the mom was that, you know, perhaps we should take him to see somebody. Yeah. But you know, this boy is talking about, like, you know, that he hears something, and it's in his heart, and it's not bad things. It's just, you know, he's just wants to do certain things. But it's just Larry. It's his friend Larry who's and but they want to send him to see someone about, you know,
psychiatric.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. But it's interesting that not so long ago we went to the local markets in Kaitaia with a devotee. We took a devotee that was visiting us, a senior female devotee, and one local that we got to know. She sells some of her natural products there at the market, and she was very happy to see us. We were doing some actually Harinam there. She came out from her stall and said hello to us all and that. And she's a devotee of Shiva, and she even has Shiva on her t-shirt and everything like that. And she started to say something about Lord Shiva and glorifying Lord Shiva. And this devotee that was with us said that Shiva's not God, that Krishna's God. And this Shiva devotee got really upset. And then they both had an argument between our devotee of Krishna and this devotee of Shiva. They had an argument. And I actually felt that you know, our devotee did wrong, because this person has so much faith in Lord Shiva, and normally, you know, we don't try to, you know, hurt her faith, interfere with her faith in Lord Shiva. And when she leaves us, she will say Hare Krishna. She will say Hare Krishna.
It's the same
but
thing.
on
Like,
this on this day that she was attacked for her faith.
We believe in Krishna. If somebody said Krishna is not a god, how do we feel? Same way that person felt.
On that particular day that her faith was attacked, she didn't say Hare Krishna. She went off saying Shiva, you know, Om Namo Shivaya, you know, like that. But it's interesting, when we respect her faith in Shiva, then she says Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Which is good, which is really good. So she can, but like that, we have to be careful.
We should. Yeah, we should, because Krishna is, I mean, Shiva is such a devotee of Krishna.
Great devotee of Krishna.
Yeah. So.
I mean, her mentality is wrong. I mean, and that she's thinking Shiva is God. But the fact is that by her worshipping Shiva, then she's going to become purified. She's going to become purified by that. And then, of course, on top of that, if when she's so happy to see us, she says Hare Krishna and that, then that's even more better. But like that, no. So we have to just try to be a bit broad-minded and see, you know, and if Krishna is the one that's giving faith to everyone in different persons, then who are we to try to attack
To
that?
interfere, Krishna. Yeah.
But no, we can present, of course, the truth as it is, but we don't have to bash people on the head with it. But, you know, we just present the Hare Krishna Maha mantra, and we present prasadam and everything in the books and like that. And but we don't want to use it as a weapon. We don't want to do it like the Christians do it. You know, you surrender to Jesus or we'll cut your head off, like that, or you surrender to Allah or we'll chop your head off. We don't want to become like that, you know, really fanatical and everything. And Krishna is so attractive. If we just present it nicely, do nice Harinam, nice prasadam, and speak the philosophy very attractively, then people automatically can, you know, become attracted. I know people that are devotees. They used to be Shiva followers. Even my own family here, you know, Jayanti's family, they were all Shaivites before. They were all Shaivites before. And I know devotees that were Christians before. I know devotees that were Muslims before. And devotees like myself were atheists before. You know, so from all different backgrounds, but, you know, we progress. So we can progress from one kind of faith to another like that. But we just want to present it very attractively so that people can develop faith in Krishna like that.
Yeah.
But generally in Kali Yuga, we're all very rebellious. We don't like being forced. So if you try to bash someone over the head with Krishna as God, then generally that won't work very well. They're just, because we're so rebellious, we'll end up, you know, being more against. You're going to say something, Gulshan?
Yeah. There's no temple in Geelong. I found there one Sikh temple. So I went there on Sunday to the Sikh temple.
Oh,
and
yeah?
then they worship the Guru. Guru is like, 10 Guru and the book and things like that. And he reading the verse out of that. And it's mentioned that Madana Mohana, like Krishna, Gopal and like all that. And then that's what their Guru say. And then through the Guru, they're going there, not the direct, like a Bhagavad Gita, but they are going there. So through the Guru. So I can read that, relate that. I said, well, your Guru says that, it's like it's mentioned in their Guru Granth Sahib there. Whatever the Krishna did, that avatar or like, incarnation, it mentioned all in there. So but through the Guru, they follow that. He's a Guru, opened my eyes. And that's why I have to go down to Guru first. And then that's it. They stopped at the Guru. They didn't go further than Guru. Like we go further than Prabhupada. There's a Krishna. Prabhupada mentioned that. Supreme Personality Godhead. And then their Guru mentioned as well, but they stopped at the Guru. Guru is everything for them. And, offer that to the offering, the plate of halwa and prasadam to the Guru. Everything to the Guru. But if you read that, he's going to Krishna. So, which is good.
Yeah. So it's not much difference. Not much difference.
No, it
isn't. Their understanding's a bit different, but not much difference. Because the Guru is directing them to Madan Mahan, but they're just staying with the Guru.
He mentioned all that he was reading the verse, and I said, well, that's the thing, Guru mentioned that. So.
Actually, Prabhupada, interestingly, when Prabhupada instructs how to offer the food to Krishna, he says you just offer the food to your spiritual master, and he will offer it to his spiritual master.
That's
and that
why
way
they offer
Krishna.
Food to their Guru, and then from Guru it reached to Paramatma. So that's what they offering, that a plate of food and halwa to Guru. Through Guru to Paramatma. Same thing we offer to Prabhupada.
Yeah. Even Prabhupada said, even if the devotee doesn't know all the prayers to the different personalities, to Lord Chaitanya and to Krishna and everything like that, then the devotee can just offer the prayers to his Guru. That's it. Just offer the prayers to your Guru, and then your Guru will take care of the rest. So that's very nice. Yeah.
Big Prabhu, can I just, I'm always the, I don't know, it's just, for me, like what's coming to me lately is, I mean, because, okay, our souls, we are parts of the whole. The whole is the super soul of, you know, is Krishna, and the soul, I mean, there's lots of things that we feel within our soul, like, you know, like wants, desires, whatever, aspirations, which is, it's being directed. It's coming, like, you know, it's feelings that you're getting in the soul. And I don't know, I'm just, I mean, the way it's coming through is like it's directed. And
No, those feelings and desires generally coming in the mind, not the soul. Not the soul. And the soul is just witnessing. The soul is just witnessing those different things, those different desires. And then the thing is, we falsely identify with them. We falsely identify ourselves with those desires as being our desires. But they're not our desires in terms of the soul's desires. They're just the mind. The mind is the mind works in three different ways: thinking, feeling, and willing. So all those activities going on within us, the thinking, feeling, and willing, that's happening within the mind, not within the soul. And the mind is observing those thoughts and feelings and that determination or willing. The soul is observing that. You know,
but isn't that thinking, feeling, and willing? Is that what you said? Yeah.
That's
Isn't that
within the mind. That's
coming,
the function of the mind.
I mean, in the mind.
However,
but
the soul has its own mind. You see, there's a material mind and then there's a spiritual mind. So the soul, the soul has a form, right? And that spiritual form is inside this material body. And that spiritual form also has a mind as well, and senses. We have spiritual eyes, spiritual nose, spiritual mouth, spiritual hands, spiritual legs, and it's covered by this material eyes, material hands and legs and mouth and everything. And also there's the material mind. So, and there's the spiritual mind. So if we are thinking about Krishna's pastimes, that's the spiritual mind. That's the spiritual mind. And if you're thinking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, eat, drink, and be merry, that's not the soul's thinking. That's
of course
the
not. No,
materialistic
yeah.
mind. That's the materialistic mind. But
But
because
to
of Maya,
be
we're misidentifying with that. We are identifying ourselves with those materialistic thoughts and thinking that's me. But actually it's not me. Just like I might think, I'm a Kiwi. I'm 52 years old. I'm white. This is my wife, my house, my car, my money. That's the material mind.
Yeah.
No,
But to be more or to be more or to do more, and those are, I don't know, we could, somehow,
so
because
often those things is the mind and the mode of passion, because desires are is within the realm of passion. So the more passion you have, you'll have more material desires. I want a bigger house and a bigger car and more money, and I want to travel around the world and see all the places, and that's your mind in the mode of passion, which has so many desires like that. So, but if you want to, I want to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world and distribute thousands of Bhagavad Gitas and do Harinam in every town and village, that's your spiritual mind.
for instance, I mean, if I just say, like, okay, for me is to be more, to do more, in the sense that presently I am, aiming to be a speaker on stages and things, and what I am wanting to speak about is, you know, kind of the essence of it is God consciousness, but you know, I will package it in a way that is you know, is received well by audiences, or it actually triggers some thoughts or things. That is me wanting to be more, and it's I don't think it's anything that is I mean, for me it's not something that is so, I mean, I don't know, it's like yeah, it's directed, I feel like it's guided, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it with the desire to connect people with gods in a more slow, gentle way, that's could also be regarded as a spiritual desire. Definitely. But I'm just saying it's not automatic. I'm saying it's not automatic that any desires you have, that's coming from the soul. No, generally the soul is said to be like in a sleeping state, and we're just being dragged along by the material energy for a ride like that because of our material desires like that. So generally the soul is not very conscious, not very awake, but it's just the modes of material nature are working and doing everything. And it's only once we come to Krishna consciousness that the soul really becomes awakened. And otherwise we're like in the soul's like in a sleeping state within the material body, like that. And it's just the modes working, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But yeah, when first we come to hear about Krishna and come to Krishna consciousness, then the soul is becoming awakened, coming alive, you could say. We're like in a sleeping state. That's why Lord Chaitanya, when he was singing throughout the streets of India 500 years ago, early in the morning he would get up with the devotees and go into the streets. And one of the things they would sing was, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Kautanidra Jayo Maya, Pisachiya Kole. Wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up, sleeping souls. You are asleep in the lap of the witch called Maya. And then he says further things. You have achieved this rare human life. You shouldn't waste it. You should use it to sing the glories of the Lord, like that. So that's indicating that the soul is like asleep. You know, it's so but now we're awake. But what's awake? So it's just the modes of material nature. The body and the mind is awake, but the soul is like in a sleeping state of ignorance until we come to Krishna consciousness. Were you going to say something, Bhakti Mala?
I just get a little bit confused around those sorts of things too, especially in relation to intuition.
Oh yeah.
Because I think we've talked about it before, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you said that intuition is more that God's talking to us, but then we're not purified enough for God to talk to us, so that it is our mind, it's not actual intuition. Is that right?
It could be. See, there's different voices. So the intuition is an inner voice, right? It's an inner voice, intuition. But there's more than one voice. So how do you know where the voice is coming from? So one voice we know is the mind, right? Another voice is the intelligence, the buddhi, and another voice is the supersoul. So you got three voices, at least three voices. So in different scenarios, it could be coming from different sources. So you can't say with one answer in every situation. So you have to just see the different situations. When I was very young, I saw my father shoot a cow in the head. And in my heart, there was a voice said, this is wrong. This is wrong. Now, looking back at that, I would say that was probably God in the heart. That was the super soul. Because why would my little child mind say that? Why would my child intelligence say that, which wasn't developed at that point to know right from wrong?
That was Larry. That was Larry.
Larry, yeah. So, yeah, it could have been God in the heart there.
Yeah.
But in some cases, you know, that little voice might be just your crazy mind telling you to do something wrong, you know. And so you have to be careful. That's why it said Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So whatever you're thinking, you should check that with your spiritual master and check it with the sadhus, the saintly persons, like other devotees, senior devotees, and then the Shastra, the scriptures. So don't just spontaneously, you know, do anything that comes in your mind and your, you know, intuition, but just check it. My dear devotee, I just had this idea to jump off a cliff and that Krishna will catch me at the bottom. What do you think about that? And the devotee will probably say,
it's a great idea. Let's do it.
because, you know, like Prahlad did it. Prahlad was thrown off a cliff and Krishna caught him on the bottom. I can do the same thing. No, but the devotee will probably say, I'm sorry. I don't think that's a good idea like that. So, you know, you have to be careful because we don't exactly know. What we do know is like Gulshan's favorite verse 10:10. Then if you're serving Krishna constantly with love, so two criteria, constantly and with love, then he says, I give that person the understanding by which they can come to me. So definitely, if you're at that point where you're constantly serving Krishna, so 24/7, and not just ritualistically out of duty, but out of love, then Krishna's speaking to you. But otherwise, I mean, like I have heard, you know, like religious people speaking on different posts and podcasts and things like that. And some of this and they're saying, you know, God said to me this and God said to me that. And I'm thinking, mate, you completely lost the plot. That's just your mind. You can tell it doesn't match up at all with the scriptures. So they're saying God said this to me and God said that to me. That was, you know, like the intuition sort of thing. But it's complete nonsense in terms of it doesn't match up at all with what the scripture says. So you have to be careful. Like I said, we know that there's the voice of the mind. We know there's the voice of intelligence, the buddhi. We know there's the voice of the super soul. But which is it? How do you know which one it is? Like that. And so, yeah, it's always good to check. Always good to check with some other authorities and match it up. Does this voice I'm hearing match up with the scriptures? Does, you know, my guru, the devotees confirm that this is the right, you know, path forward, like that? And then if you get that acceptance from those other authorities, then okay, you can accept it as that's intuition from God.
Even like little things, like I remember you telling us that story when you got bitten by the dog, and the devotee that you were with had that theme that said, I've got to go find Hey now. You know what I mean? Like,
that was definitely God was talking to him, because the mind and the intelligence wouldn't have known that I was in trouble. The only person that's everywhere at the same time is the super soul. So it was definitely the super soul that rescued. So sometimes you can tell which voice it is in that situation. I mean, he wouldn't have really known. He wouldn't have really known until he found that I was in trouble. When he actually found I was in trouble, then he would have realized that was God. So, like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it can be hard to know, you know, and on the spot. Later on, maybe we might figure it out. But yeah, just have to be careful with that one. Because there's a lot of people that are there's a lot of people that are super convinced that God's speaking to me, but in 99% of the cases, it can be complete nonsense.
Yeah. But sometimes, like, I notice that, like, when all the doors are closed, like, I can't ask anyone for help, and whatever comes to my mind, and I just follow. It's just the voice of God. Like, you know, when nobody helps you, your own mind help you. That's the last resource for help. And whatever comes from that mind, that is
but
the
that's
right
not the mind. That's God in the heart.
That's
not
right.
the mind.
That's the God in the heart.
Because actually, yeah, unless your mind is completely surrendered to Krishna, then the mind's actually our enemy, not our friend. And but yeah, you're all right in the sense that God's always trying to help us in the material world. He's always trying to help us. And he says, like in the 8th canto in the Gajendra pastime, when the elephant gets, bitten by the alligator and pulled in the water, and then in that pastime, Prabhupada explains in one of the purports that Krishna's always trying to help us to get out of this material world. But he says that the conditioned souls in the material world are so rebellious, and although he keeps giving us good advice, but we ignore the advice. We go against his advice. But it says that nevertheless, even though we don't listen to his good advice, he never gives up on us, and he doesn't become angry. Because, like, for example, in our cases, if I give you advice and you don't follow it, and then I might try it once or twice more, and then I'm going to give up, or I might become angry. That you're a bloody idiot. Why don't you listen to me? And I get angry, but Krishna doesn't give up on us, and he doesn't get angry at us either. He just keeps on trying. And therefore, Krishna has one name called Buri Karunaya. Karunaya means merciful, and Buri means unlimitedly. So he's unlimitedly merciful. Buri Karunaya. That's one of God's names. He's unlimitedly merciful in terms of always trying to deliver the poor, suffering, conditioned souls and never giving up on us. And that's real love. Just like if the children get lost and go away from the parents, but the parent never gives up on the child, always wishing the best for the child and hoping the child will come home like that, even if they go away and get into a really...
That's what my family thinks. It's been 32 years.
Yeah, so that's love. They never give up.
Yes, of course.
The family member.
You're still in contact with them, so it's not totally untrue.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's go back to our verse today, and then it mentions in that paragraph that Bhakti Mala wrote about it was saying how so I said that personalists and impersonalists, they always debating whether God has form, he has no form, he has form, he has no form. And then I said the real evidence is given in the scriptures to tell whether he has form or not. And then Prabhupada goes on to tell about when Krishna came to this world, we know that he didn't have a material form, because he did so many amazing activities that you can't do in a material body. He expanded himself into thousands of forms. He killed incredibly powerful demons that no one in a human body could kill. He lifted mountains and, inhaled forest fires, and did all kinds of incredible things. So, and then it also mentions about Krishna's birth, how that was also extraordinary. He appeared, and we talked about that to the ladies last week, that he appeared fully dressed in the prison of Kamsa with 4 arms, fully dressed with ornaments, long black hair. How many babies do you know had long hair? Long hair, longer than this. Born with hair longer than this, and fully ornamented and everything. And then it mentions how he started off with 4 arms, and then he changed back to 2. So, and then let's look at that in the 11th chapter. Arjuna asked to see those 4 arms. He asked to see that 4-arm form because he's heard that God has a 4-arm form. So he's asked to see it. So that's 11th chapter, text 46. Okay, you got it, Gulshan?
Yeah. O universal form, O 1,000-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your 4-arm form with helmeted head and with a club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form.
So there's even more than 4 arms, 1,000 arms. So what's 1,000 arms? That's the universal form. So Arjuna's seen this universal form, whereas not just 1,000, more than 1,000. He's got like unlimited arms, all with weapons and different things in the arms, unlimited heads. So unlimited arms, unlimited legs, unlimited heads. So he's addressing that universal form with thousands of arms. Can you show me your form with 4 arms? So then, Deepa, do you want to read the next one?
The translation.
Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this spiritual form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence."
Bhakti-Mala, next one.
O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances can I be seen in this form in the material world.
Gulshan, next one.
You have been
Perturbed
and bewildered by seeing the horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbance. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire.
Deepa, next one.
Sanjaya said to
Dhritarashtra,
Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real 4-armed form, and as last showed his 2-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna.
Bhakti-Mala, last one.
When Arjuna saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Jarandana, seeing this human-like form, So very beautiful. I am now composed in mind and I am restored to my original nature.
So Arjuna saw Krishna with thousands of arms, with 4 arms, but 2 arms is the best. That's so beautiful. And he felt peaceful when he saw that 2-arm form. But yeah, Krishna has many forms with many arms and different features like that. So definitely we can understand that Krishna's God. He's not an ordinary person. You know, an ordinary person cannot say, okay, Gulshan, show me your 4-arm form and your 1,000-arm form. We can't do that, you know. But Krishna has just unlimited number of features.
Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that 4-arm as well.
Yeah, he showed a 6-arm form.
Okay.
And 6-arm, it's called Sadbhuja, 6 arms. So 2 arms with Krishna, so carrying a flute with 2 arms.
Yeah.
2 arms.
Conch shell.
2 arms with a bow and arrow. So that's Rama. So 2 arms carrying the arrow, a bow and an arrow in the other hand. And then 2 arms was Lord Chaitanya's arms. So I think one was carrying a water pot, because Lord Chaitanya was a sannyasi, so he'd carry a water pot and maybe something in the other arm. But yeah, it was 2 arms for Krishna, 2 arms for Rama, and 2 arms for Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya sometime would
display that somewhere in one of the I heard that which lecture was there, I can't remember, that Hanuman, when he want to see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's got in his heart Lord Rama. That's all. He doesn't believe anyone else in there. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu show his 6-arm one, and one of them was that the Rama one. Then he bowed down. He said, "Oh,
okay."
Yeah, because he doesn't believe only Rama in his heart. Only Rama. He does not know anything else, and like doesn't maybe like And then that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, but he didn't believe that. Then he showed 6-arm, and one of them was a bow and arrow. Then he bowed down. He said, "You are the one."
And he was attracted. Nice. Hey, let's just finish the purport. We're not far off for 11 today, 9:11.
You want me to read?
Yeah.
Some of those who is from there. Yeah. Some of those who deride Krishna and who was infected with the Mayavadi philosophy quote that following verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29.21 to prove that Krishna is just ordinary man. Aham sarva bhutam bhutma sada. The Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnava Acharya like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura, instead of following the interpretation of authorization person who's derived Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on the verse, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatma, is situated in the moving and non-moving entity as the Supersoul. So, any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Akara Murti, the
Akshamurti, that's the deity form.
The form of Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entity, is uselessly worshipping the form of Lord in temple. There are 3 kinds of devotees of the Lord. The neophyte is the lowest stage. Neophyte devotees gives more attention to deity in the temple than other devotees. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that because Krishna is presented in everyone's heart as a Paramatma, everybody is embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. So, as one offers respect to the temple of Lord, he should similarly properly respect each of everybody in which the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since the God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to the temple worship. But if the God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalist and the impersonalist will fight with one another perpetually, a perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all providing, is confirmed in Brahma Samhita, although he personal abode in Goloka Vrindavan, and he is always staying there. By his different manifestation of energy and by his plenary expansion, he is present everywhere in all part of material and spiritual creation.
Very nice.
So he says, like, the personally says that if the God is everywhere, and then Prabhupada say, if God is everywhere, how come the God is not in the deity as well?
Of course.
As well.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's in the deity.
So that's a false logic they have, that you don't need to go to the temple because God's everywhere. But Prabhupada's point was, well, if he's everywhere, he's also in the temple, not just outside the temple. But we need to have a proper relationship with everyone outside the temple too. So not just you respect the deity, not just you respect your guru, but you should respect every living entity, because it's true, God is within every living entity, moving and non-moving. So a true devotee respects God in the temple, and also the devotees, and also every living entity. So that's the complete picture. That's the complete picture. And if they say that they're respecting every living entity, but they don't respect Krishna, but then that's not the full picture. You respect the dog, you respect your dog and your wife, but you don't respect Krishna. Well, that's you haven't got the complete understanding. But if you respect Krishna and you don't respect the dog and your wife, that's also not the complete understanding. So the complete understanding, you respect Krishna and you respect your dog and your wife, and everything, and then that's complete, because God is everywhere.
When you're driving the car, you have to follow every traffic signs, not only with only the the police are standing there, other ones that you can go. You follow all regardless, otherwise you fail. Is that true? Because of this one in the countryside, no one watching there, so I shouldn't follow that. I just jump the traffic light because it's very quiet area, no one's around there. That's wrong. Once you follow all.
So the Mayavadis only have the understanding of Brahman. That means God's energy is everywhere, but a devotee understands Paramatma is present in a localized form in everyone's heart, and also Bhagavan. So that's the complete picture, to know Bhagavan and Paramatma and Brahman. Not only Brahman, that's just the first step in self-realization. The second step is Paramatma, and the third step is Bhagavan. So the devotee should understand all three like that. So unfortunately our time's up once again.
Okay.
But nice that we've come together, and we've transformed the holidays into holy days by doing this. Instead of just an ordinary holiday, like around here, it's horrible to see that the people are shooting more animals than usual, and they're eating animals, pigs and sheep and everything, and eating them and drinking. And I find rubbish everywhere. People are throwing all their beer cans everywhere, and they're so drunk, so ignorant, extra ignorant. So that's just holidays, but we're doing it as a holy day, that chanting God's names.
I'm staying at the moment Caravan Park. All surrounding me, all they cook barbecue and drink beer.
It's crazy.
I said, okay, let them. It's okay. Fine. It's okay.
And originally it started from, this is supposed to be Christmas, that Christ has come to save us, and he's been resurrected and everything like that. So, but they've completely forgotten the purpose of these
Kali Yuga.
holy days.
If they remember everything, they'll become a Sat Yuga. Krishna can't be wrong. Krishna say Kali Yuga means Kali Yuga. Krishna.
Anyway, that's there's a mini Satya Yuga coming soon by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So yeah, we're part of the pioneers. We're some of the pioneer party in re-establishing this Satya Yuga within Kali Yuga.
Yeah. This is 4 people. This is Satya Yuga. We're having a class.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
So yeah, all the best till we meet again.
Hare Krishna.